Hello MotoGP fans, welcome back to ZNGP Today. MotoGP superstar Marc Marquez shares his thoughts on the ongoing title duel between Jorge Martin and Francesco Bagnaia and reflects on his own quest for third place against Enea Bastianini. Jorge Martin has stretched his championship lead over Francesco Bagnaia after the Thai GP sprint, but the Pramac Ducati rider admitted he had to manage his track limits carefully. Francesco Bagnaia was left surprised when Jorge Martin wasn't penalized for track limits during the Thai GP sprint race, believing his rival ran off track multiple times. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. After the Saturday sprint at the Thai Grand Prix, Jorge Martin inched his lead over Francesco Bagnaia up by 2 points. However, with Martin now holding a 22-point advantage in the standings, Marc Marquez believes that Bagnaia, who must finish ahead of Martin, should take risks in Sunday's main race if he wants a fighting chance heading into the Valencia season finale. Marquez, a six-time Premier Class champion, is well aware of the importance of tactical decision-making at this stage of the season. With only 5 races remaining, Bagnaia faces a significant challenge. He can't afford to settle for minor points if he wants to stay in the title hunt. In Marquez's view, Bagnaia's task on Sunday is clear: he needs to overtake Martin. Tomorrow we will see a nice fight between Bagnaia and Martin because they are both riding super fast. Bagnaia needs to take risks because if he wants to have some chance in Valencia, tomorrow he needs to finish in front of Martin. Quote from Marquez. In the bigger picture, Marquez pointed out that Martin could finish second in the remaining races and still secure the title, even if Bagnaia were to win every round left in the season. With the points gap and Martin's current momentum, Bagnaia faces an uphill battle if he hopes to turn the tables. Bagnaia seemed to have an upper hand going into Saturday, securing pole position and holding a solid pace throughout the initial laps. However, Martin retaliated with a bold hole shot, cutting to the inside of turn 1 in an aggressive move that forced Bagnaia wide. This maneuver allowed Enea Bastianini to capitalize, taking the lead, a position he held all the way to the checkered flag. Martin soon recovered and charged forward, eventually overtaking Bagnaia midway through the sprint to claim second place. Bagnaia managed to hold on to third, while Marquez closed in, finishing just behind in fourth. Bastianini's victory added an interesting twist to the championship battle. The Italian is now just 8 points behind Marquez in their contest for third in the world standings, making the final races even more crucial for Marquez's aspirations. Despite the close battle between him and Bastianini for third in the championship, Marquez is prioritizing something else, adding one more race win to his record with ZNGP Ducati before moving on to new challenges next season. For the season champion, a victory is more meaningful than a high finish in the points standings. We have our personal fight for third in the standings with Bastianini. It seems like when he's strong, I struggle a bit more, and the opposite. But if I had to choose, I'd go for another race win. With only 3 races remaining after the Thai GP, Buram, Sepang, and Valencia, Marquez knows his opportunities for a victory are limited. Although each track has its challenges, Marquez sees Valencia, his home race, as the best shot. Nevertheless, he isn't ruling out the possibility of chaotic conditions shaking up the order, especially if wet weather comes into play. Here, Buram is a good circuit, and it has been a good weekend so far. But Malaysia is one of the worst circuits for me. You never know, though. At least we need to have one race in the rain, no? Some forecasts suggest rain might hit the Thai GP on Sunday, which could make things interesting for Marquez. While he expressed a slight preference for rain in Malaysia, where a wet track might level the playing field against faster rivals, he remains open to any conditions that may enhance his chances for a win. But seriously, maybe Valencia will give me another victory opportunity. Of course, we will try, but it will be difficult, Marquez concluded. The season is rapidly nearing its end, and Marc Marquez's expertise and insights are adding extra intensity to the title race and the battle for podium finishes. With several storylines in motion, from Bagnaia's calculated risks to Marquez's pursuit of another race win, all eyes will be on the grid for Sunday's main event. Jorge Martin's push to stay ahead of title contender Francesco Bagnaia wasn't without challenges. The Pramac Ducati rider had to navigate a series of close calls with track limits during Saturday's sprint race at the Chang International Circuit in Buram, Thailand. Martin confessed that he was mindful of how close he came to exceeding the limits, which could have led to a penalty that might have altered the race outcome. For sure, I'm a bit on the limit in corner 7 if I want to do the entry fast and go really soon onto the throttle, then I'm really on the limit on that exit. I used my cards. You can go on the green one time, so I used it. Quote from Martin. Though he skirted close to the track limits twice, Martin carefully avoided any penalties, managing to finish just one infraction short of a potential punishment. Bagnaia observed Martin's line closely and was surprised a penalty wasn't issued, counting 4 track limit infringements himself. However, race control recorded only 2 incidents against Martin, allowing him to finish without further penalties. Martin faced early drama when, attempting to overtake Bagnaia at the first turn, he was forced wide, dropping down to 5th on the opening lap. The aggressive entry put him on the back foot, but Martin's persistence saw him work his way up the ranks. He made a bold move past Bagnaia at turn 7 on lap 7 to secure second place, a maneuver that placed him firmly in control of the race. The battle wasn't easy for Martin, who found himself in 6th or 7th position by the time he approached turn 3. Being further back in the pack meant dealing with more intense heat, a challenge Martin isn't accustomed to. The first corner was complicated. I think I either release the brakes and go wide and lose a few positions or hit Pecco Bagnaia. So I decided to go wide. For sure, it was difficult afterward. Normally I'm a bit more in front, so I'm not used to this heat. It was really tough, and also, I think my front temperature went super high. Despite these difficulties, Martin managed to pass Pedro Acosta, Marc Marquez, and eventually Bagnaia. His second-place finish helped him extend his championship lead, solidifying his strategic advantage. With the 26th-lap main event still ahead, Martin leads Bagnaia by 22 points. Theoretically, he can afford to finish second for the remainder of the season and still secure the world title. Yet Martin isn't resting easy, acknowledging the unique challenges each race presents. For him, the focus remains on staying ahead of Bagnaia while remaining poised to seize any opportunities for a win. If you asked me if I would sign to finish second and win the title, I would sign. I want to be world champion. But I don't know. Let's see, maybe tomorrow. I cannot be second. I will give my 100%. Pecco will be so strong. While Bagnaia is known for improving his pace on Sundays, Martin plans to approach the upcoming race cautiously but strategically. He hasn't finalized his tire choice yet but suggests that he might opt for the hard compound, the favored option last year at Buram. Despite some uneasiness with the hard tire after Friday's practice, Martin remains resolute, stating that he will mirror Bagnaia's choice if needed. I will try to be intelligent. For sure, my race is with him, Bagnaia. If I can win, I will take it. But my challenge is another one. It will be super difficult. Pecco normally on Sunday improves, so I will need to improve also. Martín concluded. As the race approaches, Martin knows that maintaining his focus is crucial. He is fully aware that Bagnaia, his closest rival, will come out strong, and he's prepared to meet the challenge head-on. With just a few races left, the Thai GP is pivotal for Jorge Martin and his title hopes. His battle with track limits and tight racing lines showcases the precision needed to compete at this level. Sunday's main race promises to be another high-stakes showdown in the MotoGP title race. Francesco Bagnaia, who lost 2 more points to his championship rival Jorge Martin in the Thai GP sprint, believed Martin should have received a penalty for multiple track limits violations. Bagnaia claims he counted 4 occasions where Martin ran wide and touched the green runoff areas, which would have warranted a long lap penalty. Honestly, I thought it and I started to count because as soon as I saw twice, I said okay, one more is a penalty, and I counted two more. But maybe I counted wrong, maybe I was wrong. The pace today was so intense that it was tough to remain on the corner line. Quote from Bagnaia. However, official lap analysis from Dorna Sports only registered 2 instances, meaning Martin avoided a penalty and ultimately secured a second-place finish behind Brad Binder. Bagnaia, now 22 points behind Martin in the standings, admitted that the pace was so high it made it challenging to stay within limits. Despite his frustrations, Bagnaia praised the pace of the sprint, noting that both he and Martin were pushing their limits. He acknowledged that the intense speed likely contributed to Martin's track limit issues, recognizing the difficulty of racing at such a high level without errors. Right now, when you are riding like that, it's difficult to have a chance of an overtake. Our pace was that strong that he touched the green 4 times. This is because the pace was incredible. Though Bagnaia started from pole, he sensed within the first few laps that he was struggling more in the braking zones compared to his performance during Saturday morning's qualifying. His initial strong pace in sectors 1 and 3 dipped in the sprint, which became a factor as Martin moved up the grid. Bagnaia was also unfazed by Martin's bold start, which saw both riders lose positions. Martin released the brakes aggressively at turn 1, moving from third to challenge Bagnaia for the lead but ran wide in the process. My start was very good. Then he released the brakes and went wide out of the track. I was expecting an overtake there because he was on the inside. Bagnaia described the maneuver as a bit of chaos, but ultimately felt it was a clean, aggressive racing move. Bagnaia, now in a difficult position in the standings, recognizes the importance of maintaining his focus as he prepares for Sunday's 26-lap main event. While Martin could finish in second place every race and still win the championship, Bagnaia remains optimistic. He knows that anything can happen on the track, including potential mistakes, and believes Martin could finish lower than second in upcoming races. I'm quite sure he will not finish every race second. He can win, finish 5th, crash. So, it depends a lot. But we have to be focused more on our results and be perfect because today I was thinking to be more competitive, and then in the race I was struggling. Bagnaia concluded. As Bagnaia and his team analyze Saturday's sprint performance, he's eager to close the points gap in Sunday's race, hopeful that he can regain some ground against Martin with a strong result. With the season drawing closer to its end, every point counts for Bagnaia as he attempts to bridge the gap to Martin in the championship race. Tomorrow's Grand Prix is expected to be another battle between the two, with the potential for a thrilling finish in Buram. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. See you in the next video.